now tuned in to the Cold Hard Truth, Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips at CaymanMorrowRoad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
Good evening, folks. What is your favorite beverage? I see that the Ministry of Health is having a digital press conference in Jamaica at the moment. Looks very, very interesting. They've got a number of persons logged on to that. I wonder what they're talking about. I see a lot of people talking about praying, but I think they better find plan B, because more than just prayers are required to get COVID under control. So it is what it is, and we need to worry about what we've got going on here. So let's us have a discussion on that. Happy Thursday. I think a number of you tuned in for the morning program, and you're back for the evening segment. So we put up a poll today. First of all, I'm so pleased to say that the authorities in Jamaica have located that no good mother. She would be jackass of the entire year, who was allowing her son, who is a toddler. He looks like he couldn't be more than 2 or 3 years old, maybe 4. But she was allowing him to smoke a cigarette with people in the background chanting. It's just crazy. So, thankfully, they have found her. She's now in police custody. Yay. Jackass of the Year has been taken off the streets. Unbelievable that any parent, any mother could actually think that that's amusing, that's funny. I don't even understand that. To me, that's just like disturbed. Like, she shouldn't have children. And apparently the child has now been put in protective care. And if that's any indication of what his future is going to be like, it's pretty sad, actually. So I'm glad that she is off the streets. We'll see what the outcome is, because you guys know how this goes. She'll go to court and start crying and saying how, oh my gosh, she didn't mean it, blah, blah, blah. It was all in good fun. I'm drinking some coconut water tonight. She'll talk about what a rough childhood she's had, all of these excuses and why she's going to mess up this poor kid's life. And they're going to give her a slap on the wrist, a little bit of probation, I'm sure, and she'll be on to having another baby and probably doing the same thing or worse. But at least for now, she is in police custody. So good for the authorities in Jamaica, sending a very clear message that that sort of behavior will not be tolerated. Good evening. Lizette, a big hello to you too, my darling. Hello, Evelyn. Who else have we got? We've got almost 50 people tuned in, all on Facebook. I don't know where the YouTube people are this evening, but they're not there yet. So thank you guys so much. Tell me, how was your day? What's been going on? I had a pretty good day today. I stayed home until about 2:30ish. So in other words, I was in front of the computer doing a lot of work. And then I went to town. I had a late lunch since I didn't really eat throughout the day. I was a little bit famished. I was just hungry by the time I finally got to have some lunch. So I had a beautiful lunch with my girlfriend. And so that was good. Hi, Olivia. Hi, Keisha. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So we have a poll up today, and I figured why not discuss that poll this evening. Okay, so someone is sending me something that has happened to them. All right. It's so funny because anytime I'm on air, that's when people are like, you know, wanting to have a conversation with me. I think they always forget actually that I am on air at any given time. Nonetheless, in Honduras today, when we had the show this morning, we had a bit of a situation where we were talking about the drugs that were picked up. Now, I've been told that 3 Caymanians were picked up in that situation this morning, I guess in a canoe. I wouldn't be surprised by that because unfortunately, we have our own homegrown criminals right here in the Cayman Islands who think it's cool to do what they do, getting involved in the drug trade. Sorry, and it isn't cool, people. It's stupid. You know, you're ruining your life. You go to jail and you have no future, pretty much, because of poor decisions. So I'm told 3 Caymanians may have been arrested in relation to that. We have not yet received any confirmed details from the RCIPS. So we're certainly waiting on that to happen. However, we tell you as we hear it on the Mall Road. So I've got a few people, like I said, messaging me. Let's see what's going on. So not long after the show, we actually heard of this massive fire in Honduras. Did you guys see this? This was shocking because it looks like it was, hold on one second here. Let me see if I can bring it up on the screen. It looks like it was actually a, what would you call it? A lobster factory is what we've been told. So, you know, off the Bay Islands, it's a very sort of big fishing area, lobstering and shellfish and other stuff. There's actually a big market. One time I watched, I think it was like some kind of a documentary about the fishing off of that area and the depths that a lot of these young guys go to try to retrieve lobsters, so much so that they actually get the bends, you know, when you come up too quickly quite often, and then they have to resort to getting medical treatment for it if they can afford it. But because it's good money and it's certainly better than doing anything illegal, a lot of these young men will make the sacrifice. They're fishermen, so they go out there and they dive for lobster to be able to feed largely the US lobster market. And there was a whole documentary on it. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was so incredibly interesting. I remember watching it and thinking, wow, I had no idea that this was even a thing. And, you know, we never really think about, well, you're eating all these lobsters 365, 24/7 at Red Lobster. Where does all the lobster come from? Well, we know that some of the lobsters, like from Maine in the US and stuff, but a lot of it is actually coming from areas around Honduras and Guatemala and so on. And it was very, very interesting to watch. And, you know, it made me reconsider a little bit my consumption of lobster. I don't eat as much lobster as I probably might want to. But yeah, I mean, it's really quite shocking. So this is supposed to be some sort of a lobster factory, and the whole thing, I can tell you without a doubt, has been burnt out and devastated. So I'm going to show you guys some footage here. We did get an update from someone else late this evening that showed us the end result of it, and wow, it's crazy. It's completely destroyed. I mean, there's no other way to say, you know, what has happened here. So I'm going to show you both pictures, both videos. Actually, there are people trying to fight it. A little bit earlier on in the day, you saw people from the ocean side attempting to put the fire out. And by the looks of it, they were unsuccessful. I'm afraid that the picture had gone too far. So Alicia is in Rotan. Thank you so much. I'm sure you would have heard about this fire there in Banaca. Very, very sad. I haven't heard of any injuries in relation to the fire. So hopefully it was just the actual structure that was destroyed, and hopefully no one got hurt. So yes, Karen, it was a seafood factory. Thank you so much for that. So I'm guessing that included lobster and other things. So give me 1 second here, folks, and I'll bring up the video for you guys to watch. And tell me a little bit about your day. How did things go for you all today? Let me just see here. So big shout out to Kenneth Bryan. He's going to be joining us on the show on Monday. So thank you so much, Kenneth, for that. Let me just see here. Where is this fire? Which folder did I put it in? Okay, give me 1 second. I think the computer is not syncing my files, which sometimes happens. So I transfer them from the computer, the phone, but we have to sync them to the computer. And that takes a little minute. So we're waiting for that to happen. In the meantime, let me see what we have going on. Oh, Lord. Remember the gifting program? There's a bit of an update on that situation. Oh, Lord. Anyhow, I'll update you guys on that later on. So several people have actually just informed me. Remember that scam I was warning you guys about, the pyramid scam? Well, it didn't last very long. It's already gone kaput. That's it. We're going to get all the details and we're going to report on exactly what has happened. But yeah, we kept saying if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, folks. It probably is. People are just wishful thinkers. Like, I don't know what to say. People just want to believe what they want to believe. They certainly didn't want to believe us. According to them, we were naysayers and we didn't know what we were talking about. And, you know, I don't want to say I told you so, but I kind of told you so. So we'll get the details on that here shortly. So just give me a couple seconds here. I don't know what's taking so long with this computer. Yes. Wow. We'll have some breaking news on that front here shortly. All right, give me 1 second. I do have another way of transferring the video that's probably going to be a little bit quicker. So let me just do that. And then we can get this show on the road. So Kenneth Bryan, like I said, big shout out to Kenneth. He has agreed to come on the show on Monday. Do you guys remember when we had the program yesterday? I was telling you that there are quite a number of bills that are going to be, pushed through at the very last minute by this government. They're doing their best to get things done. And so you should not be surprised, because I told you it was coming, this legal services bill, which is the bill that's going to look at doing away with that $200 fine for non-Caymanian attorneys that are practicing Cayman Islands law overseas without the legal practitioner's certificate or legal practice certificate. And now this government will be seeking to do away with the $200 fine, which was nothing, and give them permission to practice Cayman Islands law without a certificate. Now, folks, you need to get a hold of your MLAs and tell them to stop the shenanigans. This type of thing is unacceptable. This is going to have a humongous impact on the livelihood of Caymanians in this jurisdiction, Caymanian attorneys. And it's not the sort of thing that we should be accepting in terms of behavior. Nothing like some nice coconut water, can I tell you? Refreshing. All right, so let's download the first video, which was happening earlier today as the fire broke out and people were in the midst of trying to fight it. Of course, we were getting the video footage right away. And I always chuckle when I hear the accent of people in Banaka, the Bay Islands, Rotan, because I think they kind of sound just like us, to be honest. I mean, they really, really do, right? So let's have a quick look at these videos to see exactly what went down. And again, I'm hoping that this is just property damage and nothing more than that. But of course, regardless, even if it's just property damage, our thoughts are certainly going to go out to the people in Banaka today. So just give me one quick second. Let me read some of your comments. Hi, Natasha. Natasha's saying on the whether or not the country is going to reopen, we're not going to have a choice. Sue, I should have something shortly. I just need to send her some information, but I do obviously have her name. So I want you to hang tight so that I can get that information to you, maybe as early as tomorrow. All right, folks, let's have a look at this video.
Cut one bit if you could, babe. There you go, put it. There's a bit of fire, see? Outside there. Right there, we see that water coming down, going into the freezer room. I want right there. Oh, there's the fire outside there.
So very, very sad. And then this was the aftermath of inside of the seafood factory afterwards. So have a look at this.
Wow.
See complete devastation, folks. Oh my gosh, that is absolutely horrible. Wow. So yeah, crazy. Anyway, unfortunately, that happened today, and the entire factory appears to be destroyed. So very, very sorry to see that. All right, folks, so let's talk about the reopening. I'm a bit surprised to have learned that we will not be having a press conference tomorrow, because maybe they're going to have one on Tuesday. I don't know. But I'm expecting that we should have a press conference before the 1st, which is going to be on Thursday, next week, Thursday. So a week from today. Perhaps they're still trying to get additional information from the travel time team on how things are working. So as you will recall, the process is travel time still exists. People have to pre-apply to get pre-authorized to be able to come into the Cayman Islands. Once that pre-authorization is given, then the idea is that they can board one of two flights into the Cayman Islands. One being Cayman Airways. So if you're coming from Miami, I guess Cayman Airways is an option, or any other Cayman Airways destination. However, if you are coming from the UK or Europe, you can come by way of British Airways. Now, here's an interesting thing about British Airways, folks. Today, the UK had the highest single number of COVID cases ever. So when I say ever in a single day, let me give you some numbers in case you don't know what I'm talking about. It is well over 6,000 cases. So the UK sees the highest number of coronavirus cases since mass testing began. This is breaking news all over the BBC, Sky News, all of the UK and international news. And we are talking about, let me get you the exact number, but it's over 6,000 persons in 24 hours. So 6,634 new cases of the coronavirus have just been discovered or test positive in the past 24 hours. Another 40 people have died within 28 days of testing positive for the virus. And the latest figures take the overall number of confirmed cases to over 400,000 and total number of deaths to 41,902. So the UK is in a lot of trouble. So there are people who are questioning, if this is the case, why are we allowing anybody to come in from the UK? But the government thinks that they can control this situation by doing the 14 days self-quarantining. So anyone arriving in the UK from Denmark, Slovakia, Iceland, and the Caribbean island of Curacao, and I don't know if it's because they have such high numbers as well, will need to self-isolate for 14 days starting from Saturday. So they've specifically singled out those countries, I guess, for some reason. So the UK had originally had a peak in April, and now they are peaking again in July. So the cases in the UK have been on the rise since July. So it's not a good situation, folks. This is a surge for sure, and it certainly has people very, very worried in the UK. They're talking about what they can do to stop mass job cuts in the winter months. They have a government new wage subsidy scheme that's set to replace the furlough that's in place now. And, for people who are unable to work full time, this is going to be quite an interesting situation. But they do not believe that this is going to be the highest number yet. So they will have to wait and see. So it's peaking now. During the winter months, it's probably going to get even worse. They have said that this is just the tip of the iceberg for the UK. And they could peak and see as many as 100,000 cases a day. What did I just read? 100,000 cases a day? And now this is at 6,600 and something. Whoa. They've already said that they know that they're not capturing all of the infections because they're not really doing a whole lot of testing. They, I guess, have improved with some of the testing, but they still have a long ways to go. They think that they're identifying about half of the cases. It's probably far less than that, folks. It's probably like 20%. So hospital admissions and deaths have started to creep up again. And we'll have to wait and see. So that's the current situation. Spain and France started to see an increase. Sorry, I got some ice. A few weeks ago as well. And in their case, cases have been gradually rising. So they're thinking that the trajectory, according to government scientists, are warning that by mid-October, the UK could have 50,000 cases a day. That's just crazy. So this is, of course, 2 days ago, we told you that Prime Minister Boris Johnson had said he was going to be announcing some further restrictions. So they're moving from level 3 to level 4, which they have done. And they have now have a closing time of 2,200 hours for pubs, restaurants, and hospitality venues. So there's a little bit of a restriction there. And they can give table service only, so no one sitting in a bar. And university students in particular in Scotland have been asked not to go to pubs, parties, or restaurants this weekend to see if they can help curb some of the outbreaks at institutions, at several university institutions in the Scotland area. So, and of course, First Minister Nicola Sturgeon apologized to students, saying that she recognized that COVID was, quote unquote, making this special time of your lives so tough. But I would rather have a tough time and still be alive than not. So, you know. And in Wales, people in Cardiff are facing the prospect of a local lockdown after council leader Hugh Thomas said that the city was on the verge of entering the Welsh government's red zone. And the decision to remove Denmark, Slovakia, Iceland, and the Caribbean island of Curacao from the so-called safe corridor happened. It's going to happen on 4 o'clock BST on Saturday, the Department of Transport has said. So they were kind of on a safe travel list, and I guess they're not as safe as people thought. So they will have to self-quarantine anyone traveling from those locations. So if you know of anyone going into the UK from that area, by all means, let them know what is going on. I just see my little mouse just died here. Give me 1 second. So that's the hot mess that is called the United Kingdom at the moment. They've got a whole list of countries that are on their quarantine list. You better believe the US is on the list. So the question then begins, why are we opening our borders? Karen, she seems to think this is awfully suspect. Marshall says it's crazy to allow people to be coming to the island when the coronavirus is running rampant. Well, here's the thing, right? They are saying to us, we're going to have to live with this virus. I don't even know exactly what that means, except what they're trying to say is it's not going away anytime soon. So this could be around for another 3 years. My God. You know how many people are going to be impacted by this in 3 years' time? Wow. All I can tell you is wash your hands often. Stay away from people as much as you can. And, you know, we're probably going to go back to having to wear masks and stuff here shortly. But this is pretty unbelievable. I'm shocked that people in Cayman are going out to large spaces like bars and stuff, because I'm sorry, until this situation is under control, you would not get me anywhere near a bar, because we know, I've shown you guys that diagram before of the different places that you're likely to catch COVID, and churches and bars happen to be like at the top of the list for the highest possibility of infection. So what's going on here in the Cayman Islands? We've just gotten the newest information at 6:45 p.m. So we have some graphs here that I'm happy to share with you. Isolation numbers are still being processed, hence the number 129 highlighted. So they've sent us some information. Dashboards. So we have 210 confirmed cases, 1 death still, over 38,000 tested. No new confirmed cases in the past 24 hours. So that is good. Let me see if we have the dashboard for any active cases. So this is as of 5 p.m. And they have conducted additional tests. So another 181 tests carried out, and they were all negative. So just that one community positive that we had the other day seems to be it. However, I do recall that I thought we had, as a result of that person was still being counted as a current infection. Interesting. I'm going to just review these numbers here. Okay, well, they haven't sent that information. Sometimes they send it a little bit later on in the evening hours. So, um, no new positives in the past 24 hours at least. So, we shall continue to monitor the situation here. A lot of people are feeling very, very nervous about reopening our borders, largely in part because it's a bit of an honor system, isn't it? Like, we are really trusting people to be honest and for them to do the right thing. And so, what that means is, you know, if they are inviting people into their home and trying to get away with all sorts of shenanigans, that potentially impacts all of us, all of our lives. So we are really, really hoping that people take this seriously. They understand what an amazing situation it is to be able to have the Cayman Islands be relatively, um, COVID free. We know it's not 100% gone from our jurisdiction, but it's enough of it is disappeared, and we have, more and more negative cases every single day. The odd number will pop up that's positive, but I think the numbers are still looking pretty good. So we are in a very, very fortunate situation, and I think we all have to do as much as we can, whatever that means in our power, to ensure that we try to keep it that way. So if you're coming into the Cayman Islands, please, we're begging you, do what the law requires you to do. Don't invite people into your home who should not be there. Someone actually said to me that the numbers in terms of the fines need to be increased substantially. Like, they were not pleased with this $1,000 fine that we still have in place. And I must say, actually, that I agree with that. Let's make it like a $10,000 fine, so that if you're thinking about breaching these provisions in any way, you're going to really think long and hard about it. Am I going to be able to fork out $10,000, or will I be going to jail? So Nancy, yeah, we're supposed to have 4 active cases, but I'm not actually seeing that on the dashboard that was supplied today. So they didn't do the active cases at all. So most of Europe is on the list of countries that you have to quarantine from, including a lot of the Caribbean. Jamaica, of course, is on the list. Guadeloupe, Curacao, starting on this weekend. The Bahamas, Aruba, Turks and Caicos, Trinidad and Tobago, and the rest of the world, French Polynesia, Reunion. It's quite a substantial quarantine list. Where's the US, by the way, on this list? So they've got all of Europe, Austria, Belgium, Croatia, Greece, Gibraltar, France, Malta, Netherlands. It's quite a substantial list, but I'm looking for where's the US. So those are the persons who are not permitted to go into the UK without quarantining. I think, of course, if you're going from the Cayman Islands to the UK, you're in a pretty good position. So Marshall says that the deaths have gone over 200,000, and people are still going to mass gatherings and not social distancing, are wearing their masks. So I am really, really surprised by that. But it seems like people in certain countries have just resolved themselves to knowing that a lot of people are going to die. And I guess to them, if they're not included in that number, they're kind of okay with it. Michael says it's a delicate balance, but we cannot totally isolate ourselves in the world. Absolutely. The virus will be around for a long time, and we have to learn to live with it. I pray that God will keep us safe. Well, I think that God has given us the tools to do what we need to do. And so we better continue to deploy the things that we know works. Frequent hand washing, social distancing, as Karen has just pointed out, the wearing of masks, and staying away from crowds. So absolutely, I agree. Don't go anywhere. We still have the 250 person restriction in place. And I think that's good. And we have to certainly try to remember to do that. Yes, for sure. Let me just see who else we've got here. So Karen says churches, Jesus won't allow that to happen to his people. They're protected in the blood of Jesus. Well, Churches are one of the big hotspots as well. And that is why they were one of the last to be permitted to reopen. Now, I don't know in Cayman, do we have any churches that have over 250 people in attendance? Maybe. We don't really have any mega churches. It's not like thousands of people, but it could be a couple hundred people, I guess, on a Sunday. So hopefully they're adhering to all of those restrictions as well. But yeah, I mean, I don't think God's going to fault you if you want to stay home and quietly worship from, watching the service online. Jason says, I can't even get to watch my favorite show, CMR. Once the border opens, Caymanians will be definitely going shopping, meaning things will get out of control. Let's pray. Well, listen, right now, the borders are not reopening for commercial traffic. So I want to be very, very clear about what is happening with the border reopening. So what is happening, they're still considered repatriation flights. It's just that the people in the repatriation group keeps expanding. So from October the 1st, it's going to include people who own property here, who have homes in the Cayman Islands, people who have businesses here, or who will be coming here to work remotely from the Cayman Islands. So it's still being called a repatriation flight, and it's not a situation where it's going to be a free-for-all. And like I said, those persons do have to apply in advance to get permission. And not only do they have to get permission, but they also need to ensure that if permission is granted, they know that they're going to have a site inspection of their premise. There'll be people that are part of that travel time mobile unit escorting them safely to their home, so they can't just have a family member come and pick them up from the airport. So there will be provisions in place to address that as well. And in addition, they will further be geo-tracking. So you'll get the iSmart, what's it called? The iSmart bracelet put on you. There'll be geo-fencing you in. And like I said, the weakest link of this plan is them having to watch you with, people coming in to your home, because they can't watch you 24/7. So that's where the honor system kind of becomes really, really important. All right. Let me just see what else is going on here. Okay, so just a reminder that Amplify Cayman has been going around getting young people in particular, but anyone who is unregistered to vote. It's very, very important that you get registered to vote, because, folks, there are over 5,000 persons who are eligible to vote here in the Cayman Islands who are not even registered to vote. So to me, this is quite shocking. I mean, I don't know if those are like Caymanians who, are new Caymanians, or they haven't quite had an opportunity as yet to bother to apply for, the process of getting on the registered list. But by all means, I invite you to consider voting. It is extremely important. You can make a difference with single member constituencies, one man, one vote. It is really, really, really easy for someone to win by a single vote, or 2 or 5. So your vote, the vote of your household members, absolutely counts. So this year, I don't want to hear, when we're going into 2021, people saying, well, they didn't have an opportunity to register. You can easily get registered. A lot of people, Alric Lindsay, Kathy Wills, Michael Miles, and others are going around, as well as Amplify Cayman, which is a nonpartisan group. They're not affiliated with any candidates or anything. They're just a group of young, civic-minded individuals who really want to, ensure that everyone has an opportunity to participate in the process. It is a democracy, and we keep saying that, and, we get some interesting characters in the Legislative Assembly that we're not happy about, the only way for us to really do anything about that is to vote them out come May the 26th. So let me assure you that you will not have that opportunity if you do not go out there and get registered to vote. So come on, folks, let us get it done. There's no reason why we should not be on that voters register. Someone was asking me the other day, since the data protection law, will they start changing any of the information that is publicly available on the voters list? Because right now, if you go on there, you can see a person's address, where they live, the district that they're in. And I think there has to be some consideration for that type of information. I mean, that's kind of very personal information. I don't know that you need to show like their personal address. I think that there is a way for you to say, okay, they're in a particular district. One of the reasons why they have it where your address is being shown, the reason for that, I think, really, is because someone has the right to object to you being on the electors list. So Kent McTaggart, about a week or so ago, was posting on his Facebook page that someone had objected to him being on the list. And, it's a little crazy, because I think he's no longer, I couldn't quite ascertain if he's no longer in Cayman or he's just no longer in that particular district. And he felt like, I kind of got the feeling that he's no longer in Cayman based on his comments, but he kind of felt like, what's the sense of him not being able to vote just because he is overseas? And so there was a whole big debate about that, about trying to change the process. Of course, I think that if you're overseas temporarily, then you can obviously get a mail-in ballot and you can do that. But this must be a situation where he is overseas. So let me just pull this up, because I do think this is an interesting point in reference to people's ability to vote. So this is dated September the 14th, and there was a notice of objection, and it says that, let me just save this. I can bring it up on screen and show you guys so you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. There we go. So yeah, it is an interesting point. And I thought to myself, a lot of places, Americans, for example, no matter where they're living, they always have the right to vote and to send in, their absentee ballot sort of thing. Cayman has up to a certain point, but I think if you're technically domiciled outside of the jurisdiction for non-reasons like, temporary travel, university student, that sort of thing, you're actually not eligible to vote, is what I'm understanding is the situation. So this is the notice of objection, and it says, So we'll put some questions to the elections office and see if we can get some answers about that for you guys, just to make sure that we all understand exactly how it works. Jason, you are most welcome. Bruce wants to know, is that really democracy? Can never be a genuine democracy under the current arrangements. Unless we have better qualified candidates putting themselves forward, nothing will change for the better. Well, I think not just better candidates putting themselves forward, but the voters have to ensure that they are making some better choices, because ultimately they sit back and they complain about what they have, and then by and large they put the exact same people back in. Now this time was a bit of a fluke, because I gotta admit there was no clear, it's not like everybody voted for the independents or everybody voted for PPM. It was like a split down the middle. The one group or organization that we know without a fact that did not get the people's vote was the CDP. And everyone is of the opinion that the CDP, formerly the UDP, is politically done for outside of the district of West Bay. So they continue to maintain a stronghold in West Bay. And of course, West Bay will vote how McKeever tells them to vote. That's probably a very accurate reflection of what's going to happen in West Bay. Outside of West Bay, however, they got no seats in the last election. I would think that that is probably going to remain the case at this upcoming election. I do not know if the CDP is planning on putting together a full complement of candidates. But remember, those are the two parties that are registered in the Cayman Islands, the PPM and the CDP, and then everybody else is an independent member. Now, some independent members obviously decided to jump ship a little bit. So, Austin is an independent member, but he's working with the coalition government. Tara Rivers is supposed to be an independent member, and she's also working with the coalition government. And what's his name there? John Seymour is an independent member, and he's working with the coalition government. Two of them got ministers. And then, of course, the CDP joined with them in order to make the ministry. But it was pretty much right down the line, like 7-7, like it was almost an even split. So somebody had to work with the CDP in order to put a government together. The independent members were unwilling to work with Mr. Bush, according to them. And so, Austin said, well, we need a government. We need a functional government. And he joined up with the PPM machinery. So it's really a PPM government. They want to call it a coalition government. Oh, yes, let's not forget Juliana O'Connor Connolly, who also is still supposed to be an independent member, although I'm pretty sure my sources told me recently that she has officially joined the PPM by becoming a member of that party. So that is super duper interesting. So yeah, Cameron, good evening to you, my friend. Sandy, you claim Cayman and us Caymanians claim you. Well, thank you so much, darling. I'm happy to be claimed by my people. But yes, I'm 100% Caymanian. You belong to us, so make sure you keep it real. I don't think you're going to have to worry about that one, Cameron. That's a done deal. Bruce says, last time around, I could not even get most of the individuals running in my constituency to answer basic questions. Bruce, out of curiosity, what constituency are you in? This is where the candidates now need to step up their game. Listen, you need to take a page out of the playbook of some people like Kenneth Bryan. Kenneth Bryan understands what he needs to do to stay in contact with his constituents. And I think that is super important. You need to have your ears to the ground. You need to be constantly communicating with them. With the one man, one vote situation, it's not like you have a huge constituency now anyway. Before it was thousands of people, 4,000 or 5,000 for some districts. Now you're looking at an average of like 650, 700 people. That is a manageable number of people that you serve, so to speak. And in my mind, it becomes a lot easier to set up your database where you can be in contact with those people. If you have an office, which you should, because that office is government funded, they're paying the salaries for your PAs and so on. You just have to get a PA that's extremely well organized and who understands the nature of the work that has to be undertaken in your office, and who can be your right-hand person and really assist you in any way that they possibly can. But it is very, very possible to manage that many people. And yet, we have some MLAs who do not have a constituency office. How shocking is that? Government is going to pay for it. They're going to pay for the staff, because they changed that last time in terms of how staff are going to be handled. So staff are now considered civil servants. They get paid a salary from the public purse, and they get hired and they get a contract through the cabinet's office. And, you know, all of that is handled for the MLAs and taken care of. The MLAs still get to pick who they want. So I'd heard that some people were picking their moms to work in their office. Some people were picking, you know, the lady who hadn't been paying her pension all those years. And it's so funny that she's working for the minister who hadn't paid his pension for years. And I wonder if she's caught up in her pension yet, because he's still trying to pay his pension. So yes, it's a good question, Bruce. I'm interested to know where you live and what candidates are falling down on the job. Ay, ay, ay. What can you say, folks? All right, let me see what else is coming in on the line here. Interesting. All right. What a hot mess, folks. Anywho, I'm going to go put up this story because I think you guys will want to read this story. Yeah. I got a couple of stories that I've got to put up before the night is out, folks. And this is one that's going to get you guys thinking. Bruce, the individuals running my constituency didn't seem to have a grasp of the major national and constituency issues. Now, isn't this interesting? They could only say that they're open to listen. We have major issues, and the individuals putting themselves forward should, at a minimum, be able to articulate the issues facing the country. It seems like it is too much to ask that they actually have some ideas on how to tackle some of the issues. Well, Bruce, it isn't too much to ask, my friend. That is one of the basic things. It's like going to a job interview and you cannot answer any of the questions. You're not going to get the job. And so this now is where I think we need to start to make some demands on people. If you've never been involved in politics before and you want to throw your hat in the ring, there's certainly nothing wrong with that, but you've got to have some ideas. I agree with Bruce 100%. You can't just throw your hat in the ring and be like, well, I don't know what I want to do, but I want you to elect me. Why are we going to give you this job paying you $8,000 a month and you don't even have an idea in your head of how you're going to help the people in your constituency or the broader Cayman Islands for that matter? I sit here every single day and sometimes I get an idea and I say, right, here's an idea. It's free of charge. Take it, run with it. And are they taking it and running with it? It doesn't seem so to me. That's a problem. So yeah, Bruce, what that means to me, or what that says to me, is that they are not even paying attention to what is really happening in the Cayman Islands, which is beyond sad. Let's just be very, very honest here. If someone had a clue about what was happening in this country, and they wouldn't just be saying to you, oh, I'm just going to listen to you, they would have some suggestions. So there has to be a way forward, right? And how to solve some of the issues that we are facing in this country. Well, folks, that's all she wrote for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate your support. As always, tomorrow, I can't believe it, but tomorrow is Friday. Did that come so quickly? Yes, Bruce, we will be putting them through the ringer. For sure. and no questions in advance. I actually want to have debates right here on the CMR platform. Wouldn't that be awesome? So we're going to put them head to head, and we're going to ask them questions, and we want you to submit your questions, and we're going to put them under some pressure and see how they perform. So heck yeah, we're going to do all of that. What a hot mess. All right, good folks, that's all she wrote. Thank you all for tuning in. Bruce, Cameron, Carol, Jason, Chandra, who else was here? Evelyn, Karen, Sue, all of you, Marshall, join me, will you? Gavin, thank you so much. Join me. Of course, Carol is always here for it. Larry, join me in the morning, folks. 7:30ish. I've changed it from 7:15 to 7:30 to 9:30 because, gosh, when you get a 4-year-old and you're trying to get them up early in the morning and out the door, 7:30 is a little bit more realistic. So do tune in at that time. We will continue discussing some of the issues. Tomorrow will be open mic. By tonight, I will put up the topics. I know for sure one of them is going to be this commitment circle, because we're going to put up that story here in a minute, because there have been some very interesting developments on that front. So, of course, we are always here to bring you the latest news as and when it happens. So be blessed, folks. Don't be stressed. And I'll see you back in the morning, God's willing. Have a beautiful night.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.